If you're going to participate in the financial services industry, you've got to put on a seatbelt. There is going to be change. Whatever careers you're thinking about, big banks, futures, options, proprietary trading firms, it's going to change, and it will change your lives and your career paths. And so it's not something to be taken lightly. And what I would encourage you all to do is become students of change. You know, one of the expertise that you will need to develop is, where is this whole thing going? Where's the industry going to move to? Some of the changes will be massive. They will affect your life. They will affect your company. And sometimes they'll be gradual, like the growth of a particular product. Sometimes they'll be bang, and your life will be upside down. One of the things I would encourage you to do is start in the habit of thinking about, where is all this stuff going? All right, so how do you do that? A model that I have in mind is go back and say, what is a market? In its fundamentals, it's always been consistent. It hasn't changed so much. The basic idea is there is a place, and today the place may be the ether on the internet, you know, a website, but there is a place where you can know that there will be buyers and sellers. Why are those people there? Okay, they're there because they can make a buck. And they've assessed the risk of standing there and providing the liquidity, doing whatever it is. And classically, they will stay there because the exchange, the market, has given them an edge. It used to be the locals in the pits in Chicago would have an edge. Bill Brodsky's market makers have an edge. Specialists in New York have an edge. Maybe today, arguably, algorithmic traders who can access the bid and offer quicker than anybody else are afforded an edge. Doesn't make them bad guys. That's the reason they're there. But that's the core piece of a market. And it's always been the same. All right, take the next step. How do these people that are in the market behave? Okay. I call it the club. Okay, so they're the full range of participants who make their living around that marketplace. There are the people who are the buyers and the sellers. In today's world, I would say part of the club are the intermediaries, the Morgans, the Goldmans, the Barclays of the world, who introduce customers to the market. Members of the club, number one, and you want to watch this, will shift from time to time. You know, locals ain't so much a part of the club anymore. Algorithmic traders are very much part of the club today. And my experience is that club members will pass rules that protect themselves and preserve their edge. And invariably, those rules will change. And when the rules change, the regs, your world is going to change. The ability for the company that you're working with, for you personally, to make a living is going to change. And it may change slowly, it may change very quickly. And then finally, beside the rules inside the club, you will have governmental rules. Okay, and the governmental rules will generally be reactive. Certainly, you know, the easiest example is if there's a scandal. If there's a big scam, the government reacts. The CFTC itself came into existence because of what was called the London option scam. And nobody, thinks about it anymore, but a bunch of people got ripped off. There was a hue and cry, and so we said we need a commission to regulate all this stuff and put the trades on an exchange and have a bunch of rules around that. Okay. Massive change in the market. So you want to be watching and paying attention to, where is all this stuff going? It's also the case that there'll be times that the club members get too greedy. And the world says, you just can't do it anymore. Okay. Best example of that I remember was the Big Bang in London. For years and years and years and years, there was essentially a guild. And there were fixed commissions, and brokers could only be brokers, and dealers could only be dealers, and you couldn't have any foreign guys in. And everybody got to work about 9. You started drinking around noon, and you couldn't see straight in the afternoon, and you made a pile of money, and you didn't have to worry about that nasty competition thing. You were just locked in. And everybody assumed that would go on forever. Didn't go on forever. The government said, this is just too cozy. The club is too stagnant. It's killing the economy. And they big banged it out of existence. Sometimes it goes the other way. The club members pushed and argued for and created the 2000 Modernization Act. And sometimes they can push the government. And it helped the club for a number of years until it blew up. I had written down in my notes, and I was tickled when you mentioned it, Richard Sandor. He was an economist who worked for the Board of Trade in those days, and he was the one who developed that first financial futures contract. And he said to a group like this, he said, know one thing. If you think working in financial futures, you have stumbled onto something that feels like a franchise. I've got an edge, I know how to do it, I'm making money at it, I'm very good at it. This is terrific. I have a franchise to do this or that. He says, if you believe that, you are dead meat. Okay? There are no franchises in financial services. You're going to be living in a changing environment. Watch the underlying causes. For sure, pay attention to changes in regulation because they can turn this industry upside down. Net, if you are flexible, if you're paying attention to a lot of stuff, extraordinary opportunity. But you're in for a ride.